Sega's final console was one of the greatest of all times. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I count down the top 10 hidden gems of the Sega Dreamcast. Now, I am focusing particularly on games that I could not find when the Dreamcast was still alive, as I was a very avid collector of such. So everything is on the table, whether it be a prototype or even a new game. So, here it is. And stick around to the very end where I'm going to share a pro tip with you to really save your thumbs for your Dreamcast. So let's get it on.
Second Opinion Games.
Number 10, Geist Force. Sometimes I like to take a good look at what could have been, and this is a prime example of what should have been a terrific game for the Dreamcast, but the developers just couldn't get it done in time. Matter of fact, they couldn't technically get this done at all, so they just threw it away. It would have been a Star Fox clone, but done a lot better. The graphics look beautiful and crisp, and the controls are excellent, but there's also quite a bit of slowdown. And just like an ex-girlfriend, it's very, very unstable. They do throw in a level select so you could try out the different unfinished levels, but the first level is the most complete and it's probably going to crash on you. This is simply just amazing to see, and I love thinking what could have been. Number 9, Cannon Spike. This game is a Capcom love letter, with all these great characters returning, whether it be King Arthur or Cammy with that perfect personality. Also, Mega Man's thrown in the mix, or just play as Little Red. She rides around on a scooter with Uzis, mowing down your enemies that sometimes look pretty familiar. I'm pretty sure here's Vega from Street Fighter 2 with his weird Japanese name. Now, this is very much an arcade game, but you could select the level of difficulty any way you want it. So, if you're a complete wimp, set it on the easiest possible setting and plow through the entire game. Or if you want a real challenge, well then turn up that difficulty. Either way, you're gonna have a great time. The graphics are stunning and the gameplay is perfect, and I love picking out all the little Capcom Easter eggs. Do you think you can find them all? Number 8, Vogue The Viking. Now, this one is a relatively new release. Matter of fact, the same day it came out in the Dreamcast, it also came out on the Xbox One. That's right, it needs the Xbox One to harness the power of the Dreamcast. Now, this is old school difficult, so don't think you're going to be breezing your way through this one anytime soon. You could do a sweet double jump with a spinning attack, or just use your sword. You could also throw some spears, but they're a little bit on the weaker side and might be a little bit too slow for you. Those spears could also be used to jump on its platforms, and this game is deep as it is fun. There's branching paths, and the boss battles are just insane. This one will have you throwing your controller across the room, and that's only if you're lucky enough to find it for yourself. Number 7, Draconis, Cult of the Worm. It's a Dungeons and Dragons style game, but without rolling all those pesky die. You can choose from a man or a woman, but of course you're gonna choose the man because he can swing his freaking sword a lot harder. Women, they only have to rely on magic, and you never run out of sword, but you do run out of magic. So just stick with the dude, and you'll get to hear some awful dialogue, from him at least. The narrator is the same guy that also works on the History Channel, so if you watch Ancient Aliens or some weird stuff like that, well, then you're gonna feel really familiar real fast. The gameplay is actually pretty good, and there is quite a bit of an epic quest here. The final level is full of dragons, and they did it quite a bit better than Skyrim. Well, sort of, almost, kind of, not really. However, it is still a really good game.
Give it up, human! You have no chance against an immortal beast like me.
Number 6, Cosmic Smash. A Japanese exclusive that also happens to be completely accessible to people that only speak English, and this highly stylized version of Squash and Breakout mixed is also a terrific arcade-style game that will have you playing for many, many hours. Not because it's hard to control, it's actually very simple to figure out what you're supposed to do, and the music sounds pretty nice. But what makes the game have lots of longevity is the fact that you can set up your own challenges. Can you make it really far with only 30 seconds on the clock? Or which branching paths do you want to take this time? Eventually, you'll get to figure out all the little nuances of the game and the trick system that's actually rather deep, and the point system, because it's one of those high score games that I just can't stop playing. Cosmic Smash is the best tennis game that isn't tennis. Number 5, Elemental Gimmick Gear, or Egg. When I walked into my local video game store, I would see this one on the shelf all the time, and I would never pick it up because it's called Egg, and that just sounds really stupid to me. Eventually, I saw it for about $10 and figured, why not? It's a Dreamcast game for $10 that I didn't already have. And then I put it in my console and I was blown the freak away. Its hand-drawn art style really brought me into the game, and even though I'm not particularly good at RPGs, this is one of those action RPGs that relies on your reflexes and your skills, which is my favorite, not so much the turn-based style. The music is great, the storyline is engaging, and those graphics. If you do not think video games can be art, obviously you have never seen this game before. Now it's starting to get relatively pricey, but you know what? For a work of art like this, it's worth every penny. Number 4, Under Defeat. This Japanese-only exclusive was later ported over to the PlayStation 3 because the PlayStation 2 just couldn't handle these graphics. You pilot a helicopter with pretty cool options, whether it be cannon or machine guns or freaking missiles that blow the crap out of everything. To activate them, all you have to do is not shoot for a couple of seconds and then regaining fire all over again. This means there's a bit of a balance to how you play the game. You can't just go in guns blazing. You have to think and occasionally use your bombs to clear the screen of all the bullets that hell upon you. And one of the coolest levels in this game is even the second level, where almost the entire mission is just taking on a battleship. Wait a second, all this footage I'm showing you is of the PS3 version of the game? Well then, what does the Dreamcast version look like? Oh yeah, it looks almost identical. You know what? Just have to have this one. Number 3, Propeller Arena. This is by far the best game to never actually come out. It was made by legendary producer Yu Kazuki, who made great games like Afterburner and Hang On. And you know what? His arcade style just shines right through this game. Now, you could pick from many different weird stereotype characters, but one of my favorite is a character called Shameless Cat. That is freaking hilarious, and there's a trick system in here that's deep and impelling, and also just shooting down the other planes feels so satisfying. This is an arena-based shoot-'em-up that is so good on so many levels, and you know what? It wasn't seen again till Crimson Skies on the original Xbox. But I think Propeller Arena did it quite a bit better. And the soundtrack is so good, you would think this is licensed, but no, this is all in-house music. The graphics are so bright and colorful, this game just screams a must-have. And it was canceled because the Dreamcast was failing so hard. That's just freaking sad. I'm gonna go cry now.
I'll give it to you.
Number 2, Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact. If you're a fan of the Panzer Dragoon series, you're going to feel right at home with this game. Godzilla scans multiple targets and then has no problem taking them out. The longer you hold in the button, the more devastating the attack. And if you press the button shortly afterwards, then it will cancel the attack, leaving Godzilla the opportunity to dodge from side to side very, very, very slowly. During much of the city levels, you're just going to be destroying everything. And the bosses, they are epic. Now, I can't even begin to pronounce any of the bosses in Godzilla Universe, and I don't want to even pretend to know their names. But what I do know is that they feel and look accurate to the movies, and I have no problem destroying them in moments. This is such a great game. It's a shame that you have to import it, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And I never had so much fun playing as the king of all monsters. Number 1, Mackin X. Only Atlas can bring us a sword-fighting game with no strafe buttons and a single analog stick and make it one of the best games I've ever played. It moves at a smooth 60 frames per second at all times. On top of it, there are 7 different endings in this, 13 characters that you could brainjack, and over 20-some levels. The game itself was meant for speed running and working your way through the many different options. There's also puzzle aspects to the game. There's ways that you could jump over and behind enemies and slash them in the back, which always feels satisfying. There's an accurate parry system. There is hacking and slashing going on, and so many other cool things. The story is extremely long-winded, just like me sometimes, but it is freaking unbelievably awesome. I honestly do not know how I missed this game back in the day. It can be had cheap now, and you know what? If you weren't someone that is fully into the Dreamcast, after playing this game, you will be. And of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. So it's tip time, and the Dreamcast controller really destroyed a lot of thumbs because of the awkward shaped analog stick with these hard raised divots. So to soften it, I got some of these. They're different caps for the Xbox One, and they fit on your Dreamcast controller perfectly and make it far more enjoyable. So there you go, and keep playing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Of course I did, because I love the Dreamcast, and I cherish every moment I get to spend with it. Also, I put out new content every single week, and I want to know from you, what freaking crazy list do you want me to cover in a future video? I have a couple of ideas, and I'm hoping that you guys just want to share more of your thoughts with me. So, until later, I'll see you again, guys.